Hello, my name is Makayla and welcome to a video on what you should be majoring in based on your MBTI type. And I know a lot of people have made videos and posts on this sort of thing, based on MBTI type, what you should be learning, what you should be doing with your life. I intentionally didn't watch those before writing up the script for this because I don't want to be influenced by what other people have said. So maybe this is going to align with other videos, maybe it's not. I have absolutely no idea whatsoever. But I do want to say, this is for fun. Don't take it too seriously. If I tell you what you should be majoring in and you're doing something in the complete opposite direction, do not take that as a sign that you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. This is just for fun, and it's definitely not going to be accurate for everyone, but hopefully it rings true maybe a little bit. But anyway, this is just something I crafted after breakfast this morning. So let's see how this goes. First, the ESTJ. They have strong opinions because of their extroverted thinking, which leads me to believe that they could potentially be good politicians, expressing their ideas and communicating to the public. So yeah, political science for the ESTJ. For the ESTP, I said education, and maybe this doesn't seem right at first because the ESTP seems too, inclined to take risks and be out in nature all day. But I thought that education would actually be good because if the ESTP becomes a teacher, at least in the United States, they would get to have their summers off to do whatever they want, to go hiking, biking, whatever, if you as an ESTP are into that, with more free time to do vacations, and also just I think the ESTP would vibe with all the kids in the classroom and they would get along really well, so I said education for them. Okay, for the ESFJ, I said cinema studies, and this could lead them into a career like directing, producing, just working with movies, which I thought would be perfect for the ESFJ because they're so good at reading other people's expressions and noticing details that other people don't notice, creating empathy between people, which are really the characteristics you need if you're creating a movie. So yeah, cinema studies. ESFP, I said marine biology, and this is because they have extroverted sensing as their dominant function, and it would allow them to work with animals, collaborate with other people, and get to be in the field while they do their work, travel to the coast, which I thought would just be ideal for the ESFP. Okay, I'm excited about this one. For the ISTP, architecture. It just seems so fitting because ISTPs love quantitative analysis and logical reasoning. They don't like abstract learning, and architecture is so precise, making the angles of buildings, and it also uses creativity too, which you wouldn't think the ISTP loves because they're opposed to abstract stuff, but I think they like logical creativity, if that makes sense, and architecture just seemed perfect for that. I was browsing through a list of majors to come up with these ideas. I just googled list of common college majors, and architecture came up and it just screamed ISTP to me. For the ISTJ, economics, they're good at looking at the future while also looking at past trends to make current decisions, and I think that they'd be good at tying all that together. To be honest, I don't really have much more reasoning than that. It just seemed good for the ISTJ. That's all I have to give you. ISFP, astronomy. The ISFP is definitely someone who's guided by their principles because of their dominant function of introverted feeling, and I think that astronomy would give them a science-based career where they can make a difference in the world, and that means a lot to them. But then also they have that auxiliary function of extroverted sensing that they need to fulfill, and astronomy would do that for them because they need to be out doing something, not just doing work at a computer or sitting in an office 9 to 5. I think that going out late at night and having these adventures, studying the moon, I don't know, it just seemed like it would be beneficial for the ISFP's craving for that kind of adventure. ISFJ, nursing. I think that they'd be good at medicine. They're good at just kind of devoting themselves to what they do at hard work, and nursing is definitely a rigorous path, especially because so many people will depend on you if you have that major. So that's why I just thought ISFJ would be good at, covering all the bases, all the requirements. They'd be good at getting things done that they need to get done and also caring for the people that they're working with. ENFP, journalism. So this is because they have extroverted intuition as their dominant function. So first of all, they'd be very creative at coming up with cool articles and ideas and things to research for journalism. But second, their auxiliary function is introverted feeling, which means that they're principled, and obviously you want your journalists to be moral and not corrupt. So that's why I thought that for the ENFP. And then also because they would have to communicate with a lot of people, conduct interviews, and the ENFPs are just so charismatic that they would be excellent at this. ENTP, technically I have two. So first I was thinking law, because they would make a great lawyer, debating, arguing. But then it occurred to me when, because I have an ENTP brother, he would not want to go to law school. ENTPs do not in general, sorry, I don't want to make stereotypical statements, but in general I found that ENTPs don't like to do that kind of planning, strategizing. I just don't think law school would be the best place for an ENTP to have the, intellectual fulfillment that they need while also having fun. So anyway, that being said, philosophy. Just imagine an ENTP taking a bunch of philosophy classes in college. They would just be really in their element, and it would be great to see. For the ENTJ, I picked engineering. This is because engineering is obviously complex, and the ENTJ is willing to put in a lot of effort to understand things, but then they're also good at working both with other people and independently if they need to. And I don't know anything about engineering. I am not involved in STEM whatsoever. But from what I found on Google within the span of like 2 minutes, it seems like engineering would fulfill those needs of the ENTJ. ENFJ, psychology. This one was just kind of based on the fact that they have dominant extroverted feeling, and learning about other people and their behavior. Sociology just seemed to tie in with the ENFJ's general interests. INTJ, this one's difficult because I'm an INTJ and I'm majoring in global studies and creative writing. So I didn't go with either of those, but I went with one that's close with global studies, and that is international relations. And my reasoning for this is, even though INTJs are extreme introverts, I think that in general they tend to be good at diplomacy and communicating with other people. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I think they're good at coming to agreements and proposing strategies, coming up with peaceful ideas. I don't know, just brainstorming. International relations would let them exercise that, as well as let them be exposed to a bunch of cultures and places, which, at least for me, is really important to me to understand all of that. I don't know if it is for other INTJs, but that's why I picked that one. INFJ, creative writing. I don't know if much needs to be said about this, because we all know that INFJs are very deep, very good at overthinking, very good at just thinking. So if they're good at thinking and they're also very creative, translating those creative ideas onto a page is just so perfect for the INFJ, and the INFJs I know are all really good at writing. So yeah. INTP, you might expect me to say something with computer science because that is the general trend with INTP, and in the past I have also made stereotypes like that, and now I feel bad about doing it because INTPs have responded to me and said, why do we always get the coding stereotypes? So anyway, I picked environmental science for the INTP, which now just feels perfect because the INTP is going to be very logical, looks at climate change and isn't afraid of it. Like, they're going to want to help it out, because a lot of people, at least myself, I'm like afraid to study global warming because, it stresses me out. But I think the INTP would be really good at coming up with unique, out-of-the-box ideas. They'd also just be good at the research-based components of environmental science, because a lot of it, they would be working alone, which they love, and they're good at analyzing and researching. So because of their dominant introverted thinking, and I just think that that would be a really cool career for them to try out. And then finally, for the INFP, we have history, and this is because the INFP is a dominant introverted feeling user, and they'd be able to kind of look at history through this light of, okay, how are things interrelated with, the ideals of their society, and how does it connect with this culture? And I don't know if this makes sense. When I put it down, it just seems so fitting. I feel like it's not coming out right as I'm speaking to the camera. But I can just picture a lot of INFPs loving history. This sounds like such ill evidence to back up my reasoning here, but that's the final answer. So INFP, history. Okay, that is everything. I hope there's at least fun to listen to, fun to watch. Even comment your major and your MBTI type, but thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your week.